Hi everyone, this is Julie, and today I want to talk about the Fendorian alien race. I wanted to give some more information and some more background on who they are and how they're helping us, and just some general information, because there's not a lot of information about Fendorians out there. I've done research, but there's not a lot available. And also I've done a channeling with James Charles from humancolony.org, and he's very good. So I spoke with a channeled Fendorian during that session, and then I also have gotten my information from just myself from conscious channeling with Fendorians and with the Fendorian community. So the Fendorians are a benevolent alien race, and they are in the upper fourth and fifth dimensions. They are highly benevolent and highly spiritually evolved beings. And so I have over here, I have notes that I've written down because it's a lot of information. So I'm going to be kind of looking back and forth to my notes, and kind of going back and forth. So the first thing, the reason that I connect with the Fendorian community is because I've had several past lifetimes with the Fendorians as a Fendorian and the Fendorian community, and also I can speak the Fendorian light language. I can speak it, I can sign it, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk about the language. And also, I think the reason that I'm able to connect with Fendorians right now is because first I was able to connect with angels and spirit guides. That's part of a business that I have. Is I work with clients and do oracle card readings, and connect with their spirit guides and connecting with their angels. So in the angelic realm is really here to help us. They're specifically for us here in the third dimension, in the first and second dimensions too, the mineral kingdom and the plant kingdom. So they're here. They're specifically, the angelic realm is specifically to help us really on earth to evolve. And the angelic realm and the Fendorians are very similar because they're both highly enlightened, highly spiritual. So I think that that's another reason why I'm able to communicate with them and they communicate with me. And so I'm told that they are similar to the densities of similar to the densities of the Arcturians. I haven't done a lot of research yet. I'm going to do research, because when I get information, I like to just say it first, and then I go back and research, because I don't want to say the information that I have and then go research it, and then it affects the information in any way. So that's how I do with my readings and with my own self. If I'm trying to connect with past life memories or my own self, is I will just share the information just as it is, and then I'll go back later and research, because it's nice to have validation or just to follow up, and then that's sort of another way of learning. Let's see. So I did some conscious channeling with them, which is I just was in a sort of deep meditative state, and then I asked questions that I had, and then I just sort of let their answers come in, and they communicate to me in pretty much the same way as angels and spirit guides do, which is, for me, is with symbols, because I'm clairvoyant and I can see images and symbols, so they communicate with me through symbols. So then it's sort of my job and feelings. So sort of my job to interpret this to the correct meaning. So what they told me is native species to your planet Earth. So my understanding of this is that they have been a part of our growth and learning from the very beginning. they told me native species, but that is the closest word in the English language that I could form. So what they're really saying is they have been with us from the very beginning of Earth, and helping us to grow in a sense. So they've been with us from the beginning is what that they were trying to say. And also, and we'll talk more about this, but they said evolution, and they play a part with others. So they have played a part in our evolution as humans, along with other races. So the Fendorians are the newest members of an alliance called Girk-Fitneer. That's Girk. And then the second word is Fitneer, Fitneer. And this is an alliance of 6 species of an alien races. So I'm going to just read off what it's Yael, Pleiadians, Lyrians, Arcturians, friendly reptilians, and now the Fendorians. So the best word that I can think of to explain what they do is they are sort of like an environmental alliance. They help us. They do research. They have ships, and they are outside of planet Earth, a lot of them, and they're doing research, and they're here to help us with Earth and with the environment. So these are the things that they listed. They help us in weather, just Earth in general, just anything that has to do with Earth as far as physical. Storms, heat, earthquakes, volcanoes, solar activity, nuclear energy, hazardous waste, water pollution, and soil. So these are the some of the things that they're researching and they're helping us with, so that we can help and protect our Mother Earth and planet Earth. Now I want to just share something that they showed to me when I was speaking the language. A lot of times I'll speak the language and I don't necessarily know exactly what I'm saying, because it's not really translated word for word. If I'm speaking it for a long time, then I'll start to get images. They'll start to sort of show me things with the language. But other than that, I just really kind of get a general idea of what the message is about. So in this case, they were showing me some images. So what they showed me has to do with our water systems. So I want to share this information to see if anyone else has gotten anything about this, and then I'm going to research and see if what I'm talking about, I'm sure has been talked about before, but I'm going to do research on it and see if there's anything else that I can do. So what they showed me was they showed us our waterways, so like an ocean, but they showed me the ocean sort of like more like a pond, but it was the ocean. So that's sort of, they're showing me the symbol of water, so that's our waterways. And they told me specifically ocean, so our ocean waterways are specifically affected by this, that there is less water, so there's more concentration of salt. So our oceans are more salty than they used to be or have been in the past, and so this higher salt concentration is being cycled back into the clouds and into our rain system. So then there is more salt in our rain, and then it's coming down. And I have to be honest with you, I don't know that much about tectonic plates, but that's the word that they gave me. So I know that has to do with earthquakes and movement. So they're showing me that the salt water is coming down and it's causing erosion in the tectonic plates. So they're already unstable, but they're even more unstable than normal. So there's even more. So whenever there's earthquake activity, it's stronger. It's even more stronger than it has been. Right, so they were showing me it's an increase in intensity of the earthquakes. that they were having. So that's something that they're working on, and they're showing me this specifically because I think that there's something maybe else I'm supposed to be kind of doing with it, but I wanted to share it first, and then I'm going to work on that some more later, so I'll let you know. So I asked them where exactly are they located, and they're very far away from us. So this is what they told me: past Alpha Centaurian and the Andromedans, far away from us. So I haven't looked into that yet, but I'm going to. So I'm assuming that that's really far away from us. They also showed me a specific planet. And I think they were showing this to me because I was asking about my past lives. So they were showing me a planet. It's blue, it's small, and the name they showed me was Iramus, Iramus, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. That's the pronunciation that I have for it. So they told me that the Egyptians had knowledge about this specific planet in the Fendorian community. It's just a small blue planet, and like a planetoid, like a smaller planet. This planet is more separate than the other planets in the Fendorian community, a little further out. Okay, so they showed me what I'm interpreting as their sort of way of transportation, of how they get through from one place to the other that's far, how they go far distances. I've asked the Fendorians, or just a group of Fendorians, to sort of be with me when I do this video, because I want them to correct me and to let me know if there's any information that I'm not saying right, or some added information. So some information might come through, and I'll let you know. So this is what they showed me. This is like the best. Yeah, this is probably the best one. This is really the best way that I can explain it. It's sort of like a spiral. It's not all uneven like that. It's very even. It's this kind of darker gold color. I'm not sure if it's really that color. If that's just sort of how they were showing it to me. It's just a really dark color, and it looks like a liquid gold. It's like if you were to just sort of pour liquid gold, and then it kind of goes in a spiral, and it's actually thicker spirals, and then this little sort of dot here. So this is their way of going back and forth, probably to us, to them, to other places too. And it's sort of like a funnel shape, so I'm just assuming that it's some sort of like vortex. And then the bottom part is actually some sort of like little transportation like vehicle is the only English word that I can think of to kind of explain it. And recently, instead of them sort of coming to me to communicate, I went to the Fendorian community to communicate. So what they showed me was I was sort of in the middle of the funnel. The funnel's here, and I was kind of in the middle, like right here, and on the little ball that's on the bottom. And so then they showed the ball kind of just going down like this, and then the funnel kind of closing in on top of me until I was like right here, and in this sort of the little ball, the round ball shape. And my understanding is you're protected by your Merkaba when you're in this funnel. So your own energy system, you're automatically protected. And then there was sort of in the ball, I sort of separated, and I could see that there were other beings too. So then I was just in like this bubble. So if you were to just blow bubbles, it looks very similar to that. It's kind of translucent. Mine was like a purple color, and I noticed that there was like a green color one sort of floating around too. And this is in space, in like the space area. And so then this was sort of like a way of transportation to other planets. And also I say Fendorian community because the way that I'm understanding it is It's sort of like our communities. So we have a community, and then you have houses. So you can go to each other's houses, and then you might have a park. You can go to a park. You have an amenity center. You can go there. You have a school. You go there. That's how the Fendorians community is set up too. So I always say community because that's the best word for it. Because they have multiple planets, and they can just go back and forth between their different planets. And the planet that I was going to was sort of like a planet where they have conferences and things like that. So that's their that's how they showed me that they can move around and travel. So I'm going to talk about their language. So the Fendorians are really just proud of their language because they've worked on it for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Because the way that they communicate is really important. Now, telepathy is really the highest form of communication, and that's how spirit guides and angels communicate also. So whenever I see an angel or a guide, and then we're communicating, it's, no one's talking. It's just thoughts to thoughts, symbols. And the reason they use symbols is because symbols are very feeling. It's sort of when you have a symbol and then you have feeling along with it. It makes it more intuitive, more in your heart center communication. So the language it's very flowing. It's for me, it's very fast. It's a very fast language, and there's long sentences. I guess, or like our sentences, it's very long. So it's kind of long-winded language. So if my intention is to give, a 2 or 3 sentence blessing in English, then it will just come out like a whole lot, like a whole paragraph in the Fendorian language. And the language is meant to be feeling also. It's meant to evoke feeling and to be just very flowing. And there's also signing that goes along with it. Also, there's a lot of use of the tongue in the language. And when I asked them if I was speaking it correctly, if there was something that I needed to work on in the language, they told me to just watch your tongue. So because the tongue, if you kind of, I just have to be careful with that because it's really fast. So the tongue, you have to be careful to not just kind of let it just sit there. You have to use it so that so that your words come out correctly. And I noticed too that I can't, when I'm speaking, I can slow it down I can slow it down some, but not a lot, because if I really just have to be open and just let the language flow. Because if I try to really slow it down too much or try to read into what I'm saying and translate it as I'm thinking about it, then it shuts it off and it slows it down, because you're not really using your analytical mind when you speak a light language. You're speaking from the heart center and you're using feeling. So you're feeling the language. And there are different dialects, just like other light languages, other galactic languages. There are different dialects of Fendorian. The one that I speak is the oldest one, and it's the one that most Fendorians use, but there are other dialects and newer dialects that are out there. Okay, so I want to talk about the signing. The language is also signed. So I'll just give like a little, I'll try to make it short, a little example. I'll do a blessing in Fendorian. Dokeni ni kita melak orang kemana kita beri kiki kina dokona mene kila kudon mana sana dokona bareki adikina dokona baraka tadere dokona barakara adagani ni namono barokara dibrikina sakarina dokona neki dokona baraka tidunhine o dokon anakatan marokona bareki de la korakara kiri sarkora tikduren ana mane kita barokara tadaburti dokona baraka tamurkati tidibrikiti dekita da tudum ana barakati. So that was just a little mini blessing in Fendorian, and So you notice I use my hands. So that's signing the language. And what they've explained to me is that that the reason that for the Fendorians, their children, they have vocal cords just like we do, but they are not as the vocal cords are not formed as quickly as ours are. Like we're able to, when we're born, we're able to make sound right away, and then we're able to, to speak right away with vocal cords. But with the Fendorians, they're not developed until later. And I think that has to do with the fact that they really use telepathy a lot, and so they just sort of, it's kind of, for us, it's more important for us to speak and communicate right away, more important than it is for them. So, but what they do is they use the signing. They teach the symbols and they teach the language as a sign language first, before they teach the actual verbalization of it. So really, verbalization of language is one of the last things they learn. They learn they're sort of correcting me here. So they learn the signing and they learn the telepathy sort of first. So the speaking of the language is not necessary for Fendorians, but it's necessary as a whole for communication, just universally. It's important. So I want to talk about what the signing does. The signing is signing of the language, but it also has to do with the symbols, sacred symbols of our universe, sacred geometry, Fendorian symbols, and it has to do, so whenever I'm sort of doing my hands, I'm signing the language, but the reason that the hands are all over here, they don't have to be over here to sign the language, I could just be right here. It's because there's also symbols that are being brought into the language. It's almost like punctuation for us. So we have a sentence, and then we need a little comma here, and then we have the rest of the sentence, and we need a period here, exclamation point. It's similar to that, in that it's combined in with the language. It's combined in with what we're speaking. It's brought in along with it, and it intensifies the language because there's sacred symbols that are being brought in, and it provides depth. That's a word that they want me to know, to show, to tell you, is that it provides depth to the language, which is important during the activations and healings, to have those sacred symbols brought in. And a lot of times I don't see the symbols. I'm just kind of going with the flow. But sometimes if I'm able to look into it, the symbols are sort of like gold dust, kind of. That's how they show themselves to me, the symbols. And it's almost as if you have like some sort of holographic screen, and there's symbols over here, and then there's symbols further back, and then there's symbols over here. So when I'm doing the language on videos, I try to keep it kind of contained. But when I'm just standing and just doing it, it's everywhere. The language, the sign language, is just all over the place. It's almost like there's just this big screen in front of me, and I'm just, can use symbols and things like that. So that's So another thing they're proud of with their language is the healing. So they're incorporating healing energy whenever the language is spoken. So when the language is spoken, it's not just about communication. It's really about healing and activation, specifically with the chakras. I noticed that the language, whenever I have gone to do videos in the past, it always comes back to working on the chakras. So that's something that's very important to them, and that they like to use the specific language for. So I asked them, because when I first found out that what I was speaking was Fendorian, because I didn't know, I just knew I was speaking a galactic language. I know that there's not a lot of information about Fendorians out there. So I asked, why is there not a lot of documented communication and contact or information from Fendorians? Why is there not a lot of information out there? Why, kind of like, why are not more people talking about it. So this is what they told me, and then I'll kind of explain it. So it says, we contact not as many limitations, more pure and singular information. So for them, for the way that they communicate, they prefer to communicate with a smaller group of humans, as far as on Earth and us as humans. They prefer to communicate with a smaller group, because there are limitations with the way they communicate when they communicate with more people. So there is more pure singular information, which means the information is more pure if you sort of like speak to one person at a time rather than a whole large group. They like to keep their information as pure as possible, because it's highly spiritual and enlightened information. And they said fewer people is most beneficial to Fendorians, just as more people with more information would be most beneficial to other species. So it's just that it's more beneficial to the Fendorians with the information that they have and what they want to share, to speak with fewer people. But other species, it would be more beneficial to them. So it would be better for them if they were to communicate with large groups and with more people, and to show themselves to more people. That's what's most beneficial to that species. But to the Fendorians, this is not the case. They do better with just small groups of people. So I asked them, like, why are you communicating with us now? Why do you come here? Why are you on the Alliance? Why are you like playing a part? Why are you helping us? So I asked specifically, like, where do you come from? Like, how did the Fendorian community get started, I guess, is kind of the question I wanted to know. So they told me after source as all. So what they were telling me is that we all come from the same source, the same divine energy. So they wanted me to really remember that, and to explain that to others, I guess. So we are all from source, all ET species, all alien species, all beings are from source energy. So they said after source as all, as a learning station, teaching station on life path, a learning stop on journey. And so what they were saying to me is that their purpose of the Fendorian community is all about enlightened learning, higher spiritual learning. So they are so whenever there comes a point to where someone would like to have more spiritual knowledge, more learning, more when they reach that sort of level within themselves, the level of awareness is really the best way to explain it. When they reach that level of awareness, then the Fendorian community can be like a stop on that life path. It's almost like they were showing me like a bus stop, and it's just one of the places to be. It's a place of higher learning. It's not the only place of higher spiritual learning. It's just they just have a lot of knowledge and information to share and to offer. So teaming with schools is something else they told me. So they have a lot of what we would call schools. That's the best word for it in their community. So they have a lot of schools. And so whenever you're traveling to another place in the universe, it's not necessarily about physically traveling. It's about your energy body and you connecting with your higher self, and you're traveling I guess more in an astral way, kind of like, when you dream and you travel to the astral plane. It's traveling in that way. So they are available for that if you would like to travel there and to learn more about higher learning. So what they were trying to tell me is that they were built as a learning institution. And then they were showing me a lot of books, open books, and what we would consider a university. So they're trying to tell me that that's pretty much what the Fendorian community is about, is teaching and learning and teaching others about spirituality. And also they said our contribution plants to your Mother Earth. So gave species to Mother Earth, and then they told me the greenhouse, as if Mother Earth is like a greenhouse. So they did contribute some plants to us. That's another contribution from them, is some of our species of plants have come from the Fendorian community. So I asked them, what do you look like? Whenever I have seen Fendorians, normally they will show themselves more in a human way, and that's for better communication. And especially if you don't know something, if you might have some fear, if you see something you've never seen before, that would possibly cause fear. So, but what they showed me is, they showed me a large energy source. I'll just call it that. This is all symbolic, so this is how they're showing me so that I can explain it. So it's a large energy source, and they showed it to me breaking down into these little small translucent circles, these little circles. And then the circles of energy, translucent circles of energy. So big source, big energy source, little, breaking all down into little circles. Then the little circles, they showed me them sort of coming together and forming what would be like a physical shape. So this is what I gathered from that, is they can change their energy vibration to a physical form. So they are energy, and they can change into physical form. And this is the same way with angels and spirit guides, because angels and spirit guides are also, just as we are also energy, and they come to us in ways that we will understand and feel comfortable with. And they come to us in spirit guides specifically come to us in, they try to show us their individuality and coming to us in ways that they like. So they show themselves dressed in a certain way. Some show themselves dressed in robes. Some show themselves just more of color and not dressed. And some they're just all individual and different, just as we are, just as individual and different as we are. So angels and spirit guides, they are the same way physically as the Fendorians, as far as just being energy and just sort of making themselves into these physical, into however they would want to physically. And also, so I saw a Fendorian that came to me as in human form, and then I saw a Fendorian that was a color, it was a very nice red color, and she's very beautiful. And so when I asked about that, they explained to me that their density, even when in physical form, is lighter than ours. Our density is much heavier. So their physical form, their densities, their sort of skin, I guess you would call it, is more of like a translucent, kind of like the energy circles they were showing me. So it can actually take on the atmosphere, the color of the atmosphere in the planet that they are at. So if they have a more red planet, their planets, from what I can tell, are more airy than ours. That's the only word I know how to, kind of like foggy, but a clear foggy. So more airy type of atmosphere in their planets. And so their skin color pigment can pick up from the atmosphere. So they can be red, they can be blue. It's not like us where we just have shades of kind of the same color, we just different shades. They actually have color. They can actually be colorful. And So the way that when they show themselves to me in their sort of the sort of most recognized way of Fendorians, they have longer limbs, longer arms, longer legs. They're taller, and their middle is kind of very slender, and then they have, a head too and face. But I really haven't. It's all kind of when I see things, it's kind of can be kind of vague. So that part is kind of vague. It kind of reminds me of, I know this is kind of weird, but it kind of reminds me of Gumby a little bit. The shape, kind of how Gumby is. So that's the closest thing that I can think of on Earth to describe it. But it's it looked like Gumby, but more, just more beautiful with the coloring, and not quite as silly. So as far as how they look, so they can change themselves to be in the physical body or the physical shape that is most beneficial to others. So if they were to go to like another planet, and it would be like, let's just say for instance us, if they were to come here to us, and for us, we greet each other. A lot of times we shake hands. As far as here, the United States, we shake hands. So it would be important for them to have a hand, for example, in order to shake our hands, because that would be beneficial to us, because then we would feel safe and more comfortable. So that's sort of how they that's how they look. So then I asked them, like, how have you been involved specifically with our human evolution? And so then this is what they told me. So it says, here now to help you remember, as this is a time of shift and change. So, and it says, well, what I wrote down is that we are like children going through a growth spurt. So that's the way that they sort of made me feel. So it's almost like, your child, grows, and then they have, a couple of months where they just gain, they have like 3 inches, they're 3 inches taller. That's how we are. Symbolically. So right now we're ready. We're going through a time of change, as we have been for a couple of years, and so we're going through a time of change where we're going through a growth spurt. We're as far as evolving spiritually and having higher awareness of our true selves. So we are here to help you as you're going through a growth spurt, here to help. And we have been here to help you through times of expansion and growth. So this isn't the first time that they are helping us, and they have been here. What that they were saying to me, what I felt was that they've been here from the very beginning, whenever we've gone through these little growth spurts and we're more spiritually aware. So this is the image that they showed me to kind of explain this a little bit better. So they showed me these sort of like platforms. So you have this platform, and then another platform here, and then another platform here. So whenever we sort of, this is how we all grow on Earth, as all together connected, and this is how we also all grow together as a universe. So we are on this platform, and then they showed me steps. They showed me a platform and then steps on top of that. So like they showed me on the 5th step. I'm not sure why that number. I don't know that the number is specifically important. I didn't really receive anything of importance about the number. It's just a number to show that when we get to a certain stage in our area of growth, then we're open to more assistance from the Fendorians and also from other alien species, but they were really specifically talking about themselves. So for example, we've been at this level of growth in the past, we got to the 5th step, and then we were open and accepting of information from the Fendorians. And then we kind of grow some more, and then when we get to the 5th step, then we're open again. So that's kind of how they showed me. So they wanted me to say this is specifically as far as spiritual growth. When ready to advance and receive more knowledge, we come here to you, to your galaxy, to your community. So that's just, again, just pretty much saying what I was already saying, that they come whenever we're able, when we're accepting. We are all moving up as a collective. So again, this is really important, that it's not just us humans here on Earth, although we are a very important part, a very important part of this moving up, this collective moving up. And it's not just us; it's other species too. We are all sort of growing up together. So. And then they said, we are coming to you because you have in essence reached out to us with your asking and desire for increased spiritual knowledge. You are asking for answers. So, and then it says, this has happened in the past, present, and in the future, because they don't really have, timelines like we do. So they're trying to kind of help me out and help us out and explain that as far as our timeline, that they have been here in the past and they're here now, and that they will be here in the future if we need them to be, when that time comes again. And so they said, Earth has asked enough at this time to warrant an interaction. So this is very similar again to when I speak with angels and spirit guides, because they are with us. We have a master spirit guide that's with us from from before we are incarnated in a lifetime and through our whole lifetime. And the important thing for spirit guides and angels is that we as humans on Earth, we have our free will. Well, as all species have our free will, and they cannot interfere with that. So it's important for us to ask for help. We need to ask for help. It has to be like our idea. So it needs to be because that's just the way and how they work. They're not going to advise you and give you help with something if you aren't asking for it. So I feel that this is what the Fendorians are communicating to me too, is that there have been enough people who have asked, and enough asking from Earth, from humans from Earth, about spiritual knowledge and information, that they are now able to help. So I asked them, have you been involved in our physical evolution as far as our physical bodies, like or DNA? And so this is what they do have sense of humor. So just like we do, they're a little bit drier, than we are as humans. We're so diverse as humans, and we have so we go just kind of like the whole spectrum. We're just all over the place, where the Fendorians are just a little bit more just kind of in the middle. But they said we were consulted as your interior designers. So what they were telling me is, like, when we want to, we want to redo a room or something like that, then maybe we would consult an interior designer who has experience in rooms. They know how to decorate. They know how to place things. They know, they know how colors work together. So you would consult an interior designer. So that's what they were trying to communicate to me, that they were consulted in that way. Although this was exterior, so that they were saying that, it's as an interior designer works, but they really only were consulted about how we look on the outside. So they said we were asked our opinion, consulted on what would be the best vessel for learning. So they were asked about early on in our evolution. They were asked about, like, how our physical bodies, what would be the best way, the best vessel, the best way for us to be made and to be, so that we can to learn the most, get the most out of our learning. And there were options, choices we were given and asked advice on. So it was more like just more like a collective asking. But I didn't, when I asked specifically about DNA, they didn't really give me a lot of information, so I don't think that they were it may be that they were involved in our DNA. But at this time, that's the information that they gave me. So, so this is the information that I have right now, and I just wanted to share it. And I'm going to go do some more research and get some more information. So I'm thinking that what I might do is some more conscious channeling. So if anyone has any questions or anything they would like to ask, you can email me. Or you can just leave a comment, and I'll leave all that information in the little information box so that you can reach me. So I hope that then now there will be a little bit more information out there, and then as I get more information, then I will share that. And I have some chakra work on here. I made some videos, and I'm going to do some more light language. I'll just kind of do whatever I'm guided to do and go with the flow. So I'm going to do just a quick Fendorian light language blessing, and then conclude the video. So thank you. Tikini kutudo kumanakini atukan ini kana malako to karatidi kado to barakata karate kini manakrikini to manakataniki ditsa tikine onaka atukana na manakara na kina lo barakati kado barakata karati to kora parahana karakatini kan parakatini to kudere da kumanakata tikine to kuna maanai to kana ini kutamara hani kudo perkuane lo kutidi de barakatina no to kora manakara atikini kurotsa tikini tikitsini tikini katsana katikana tikina na barakata da dina manakona nekini kuna manaka dekineka dekini konaka dokunama dekini neke tsano no kuna ba kare ne kare dire to no kare brekare nekino ko barakara tsini no ko barakani ti dekich barakata kare tsini kare kare marakatsa dekati de banana dekati de banana dekati de banana titi to banana take a back at the so thank you for watching.